Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having me. My name is Javier Suarez. I was born in Bogota, Colombia. I moved to the United States, north side of Chicago, when I was about 5 years old. I've been living in and around the city ever since. I'm a third-year medical student at Northwestern's Feinberg School of Medicine in downtown Chicago, and I'm here to talk to you today about Latino and Hispanic doctors, or rather, the lack thereof. Latinos and Hispanics make up about 17.8% of the U.S. population. There's a credible diversity among them, as you can see, and I'll get into that in just a moment. First, I'd like to talk about what unites us, Latinos, with the rest of the world. At some point or another, we're going to get sick. We're patients, right? But however, unlike most of our non-Hispanic, especially white friends here in the States, our doctors don't look like us. And perhaps more importantly, they don't speak or think or see the world like us either. And this divide is increasing. While the Latino population is among the fastest growing in the States, the number of Latino doctors is actually shrinking. Data shows that between 1980 and 2010, there was a 243% increase in the number of Latinos in the United States. In that same time period, the number of Latino doctors actually shrunk by about 22%. As a future Latino doctor, I'm obviously upset by this trend. I shouldn't have to look around and say, wow, I thought I was the only one when I meet another Latino medical student. I shouldn't have to look at my school's demographics and see us represented by this tiny sliver on a chart when I know that we make up a pretty big chunk of America's pie. We're millions strong, and yet our hospitals and our clinics don't represent us. And while I know this is not a uniquely Latino problem by any means, unfortunately, I don't have the time or the true perspective to explore the healthcare experience of other minorities today. So what does this mean, right, for patients? Well, research shows that Latinos are actually less likely to go to the doctor in the United States, especially if these patients speak little to no English. I've seen the power of language in healthcare firsthand through my experience at Community Health, which is a clinic in Chicago's West Town neighborhood where I've spent almost 100 hours volunteering as a Spanish interpreter. This clinic is dedicated to serving the uninsured population in Chicago. They tend to help mostly Latino, Hispanic, and actually Polish patients, which just shows just kind of how the demographics of the city end up playing out. But anyway, my role there, this is where I really solidified my commitment to a career in medicine, where I saw, witnessed, experienced the tremendous impact that cultural identity has on healthcare and how important it is to recognize it. So my role here in the clinic would be as a tool, ideally. I would stand between the doctor here and a patient here, and they would speak to each other, and I would help translate, right? So it would be, doctor says, hello, Mrs. Sanchez, how are you doing? Hola, señora Sánchez, ¿cómo está? Muy bien, pero me duele la cabeza. Good, but my head hurts. And it would be so on and so forth. But, over the course of the conversation, patient starts drifting to me, starts looking to me for something, right? Obviously, they're not looking to me to give a diagnosis or anything like that. I don't know that much about medicine. I'm not their doctor. They're looking at me more with the sense of, you get me, right? You know what I'm saying. And it's that kind of connection, that kind of relief that people feel when they get a sense that, this person understands me on a little bit of deeper level. That's so important in the doctor-patient relationship. And of course, this is not to say that the doctors I worked with were bad doctors or that the patients didn't want to talk to them, that they didn't like them. The opposite. The doctors were mostly great. These are people who are volunteering their time, their effort to help these underserved population. And the patients in general were really respectful. They admired the doctors a lot, but there's a difference between respect and connection, right? So this experience is really what drove me to pursue a career as a physician, to pursue a career as someone who can provide the Latino patient with a sense that they're getting an individualized experience, someone who cares for them as an individual. And speaking of which, speaking of individuality, that wide variety of ethnicities within the umbrella of Hispanic Latinos, And recognizing that there are differences between, say, Mexican culture and Colombian culture is a big part of dealing with Latino populations. It can help foster a deeper connection. And obviously, no one is expected to know the exact details and nuances of every single culture, and it's dangerous to start making assumptions about individuals and start stereotyping them as just, oh, you're Mexican, you must have XYZ traits. But awareness that there are cultural differences and they may be significant is key to furthering that doctor-patient relationship. Now, I like to use diabetes management as an example. So diabetes is a disease where your body loses the ability to control its blood sugar. So it starts going up and up and up, and it wreaks havoc on all kinds of different systems and organs within your body. And now this is a disease that we don't have a cure for. It's a long-term chronic disease, and patients have to make really big lifestyle changes in order to deal with it. Among these lifestyle changes is diet. And so when you are counseling a patient saying, okay, this is how you're going to take care of diabetes, you're going to talk to them about their diet. And if you have a patient who is of Mexican heritage, you might ask them, how many tortillas do you eat a day? Might be an important part of, they might eat 4 or 5 tortillas every meal. And there's a lot of carbs. It's going to be a problem for them. If you ask a Colombian patient that, they might look at you and say, I eat at Chipotle every once in a while, I don't know. And so obviously this is like a small example, and not every doctor, again, is going to know every detail about every cuisine, but there's still a sense of kinship, even among the different Latino ethnicities, a sense of estamos juntos, we're together in this, that can often be missing when the doctor is not of Latino Hispanic heritage. So where do we go from here? For starters, we need to make it more feasible for Latinos to enter healthcare. There's widespread inequality from the very beginning of education, elementary school, up to the higher education, just in this entrenched bias that is preventing Latinos and minorities of all kinds from entering professional careers. And it's going to take a lot of hard work to dismantle them. It's very deep-seated into our nation's history. And for now, we have to work on teaching our current students how to deal with other cultures, how to talk to and handle patients of different backgrounds. And it's not just about knowing the details of every single culture. It's about recognizing that people might be different from you, and that's okay. To recognize that patient values might conflict with your own, and to be able to navigate them, that's really what is going to separate a decent doctor from a great one that's going to be able to develop that good personal connection with people. But of course, this is not a replacement for increasing the number of Latino doctors. Again, it's not about knowing what we like to eat, right? It's about sharing lived experiences, right? It's not knowing cultural practices, it's understanding who we are, where we come from. To conclude, it's a long, tough road ahead of us. We can't back down. We live in a system where it often can feel like we have to work twice as hard to prove we're half as valuable, not just as students, but as people, as human beings. But these are challenges we have to face head on. We have to continue fighting for ourselves and, as healthcare providers, for our patients. I'm here and I'm talking to you and I'm pursuing this career in medicine because I know there are millions of people out there who'd rather stay sick than go to see a doctor who doesn't understand them. I believe that when we bridge the gap between who our patients are and who takes care of them, we can be a stronger, healthier nation. Thank you so much.